you tonight.
Everybody ready? Okay. I now call to order the Planning Commission meeting of December 7th, 2022. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the statement of values. Secretary Biagini, Commissioner Biagini, would you please read the statement of values?
Sure. As we gather, we humbly seek blessings upon this meeting. May we act with strength, courage, and will to perform our obligations and duties to our people with justice to all. Let us seek wisdom so that we may act in the best interest of our people, our neighbors, and our country. All this we ask so we may serve our community with fairness and respect, putting their needs before all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Elizabeth, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bhatnagar,
Present.
Commissioner Biagini,
Here.
Commissioner Chair Kuru has notified us she will not be here. Commissioner Hero has notified us he will not be at the meeting. Commissioner Wang,
Here.
Commissioner Buza,
Present.
Commissioner Salem. Here. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Commissioner Harrow and Chair Priya Tirakuru this evening.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Salem. Please cast your votes now.
It's virtual.
Commissioner Bhatnagar,
Aye.
Commissioner Biagini,
Aye.
Commissioner Wang,
Yes.
Commissioner Buza,
Yes.
Commissioner Salem.
Yes.
Thank you.
The declaration of commission procedures. Public hearings are conducted by the chair in accordance with the following procedures. The chair of the commission directs all activities during the hearings. All comments shall be addressed to the commission. 2, any items on this agenda may be continued to a subsequent hearing. 3, applicants will be allotted up to 10 minutes to present and justify proposals following staff presentation of the item. Other speakers will be given up to 2 minutes. The applicant is allotted up to 5 minutes for rebuttal of the comments. 4, no additional comments will be accepted upon the close of public hearing, although the commission reserves the right to direct any questions to any speaker on any matter. 5, special procedures and time limits may be applied to any items as prescribed by the chair. And 6, appeal of commission actions must be filed in writing within 7 calendar days.
Thank you, Commissioner Biagini. Copies of the current agenda and staff reports for each of the items on the agenda are available from the Planning Division office on the Friday afternoon preceding the meeting and available online. The next part of the meeting allows for applicants, members of the public, or interested parties to request an item to be 1, continued without hearing, 2, withdrawn, or 3, taken out of order. Are there any requests, applicants, the public, or the commission for which a continuance or exception for any of the items on tonight's agenda?
And excuse me, Mr. Chair, I'd just like to note for the record that because there are only 5 commissioners present, it will take a vote of 4 of the 5 to take any action tonight. Any applicant or any person interested in any item tonight has the right to request a continuance if this is a source of concern.
Thank you.
We do not have any requests for any continuances or exceptions.
Okay, so then we shall proceed. For the consent calendar, Commissioner
I'll help
Biagini,
you.
would you please,
I will help you.
would you please read the
Sure.
consent calendar?
The procedure for the consent calendar is as follows. Consent calendar items may be enacted, approved, or adopted by one motion unless requested to be removed by anyone for discussion or explanation. If any member of the Planning Commission, the staff, the applicant, or a member of the public wishes to comment on a consent calendar item or would like the item to be heard on the regular agenda, make this request now. Items listed on the consent calendar with associated file numbers constitute public hearing items. And the consent calendar includes the following: 1A, Planning Commission meeting minutes of November 9th, 2022. 1B, action on a variance request from the sign ordinance and a Class 11 CEQA categorical exemption for the size and duration of display for 3 temporary vinyl signs at 3600 Juliet Lane. And 1C, action to adopt a resolution to approve a variance to rear accessory building setback and the accessory building setback from the main building in order to allow a 68 square foot accessory building in the rear of a single-family residence at 2121 Sheraton Drive, and action on a section 15301E2, the CEQA categorical exemption.
Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Commissioners. Elizabeth, would you please call the votes?
Commissioner Bhatnagar?
Yes?
Commissioner Biagini?
Yes?
Commissioner Wang?
Yes.
Commissioner Buza?
Yes.
Commissioner Salame?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes.
And Mr. Chair, I'd just like to note for the record that items 1B and 1C are now final decisions, and there is a 7-day period to appeal those decisions to the City Council.
Thank you. So noted. The motion passes. Is there a new motion for consideration by the Commission? Any new motions? Nope.
No.
Okay. So then we'll move on to public presentations. Elizabeth, are there any members of the public that would like to briefly address the Commission on any item not on the agenda?
No, we do not have any requests.
Okay, thank you. So then we'll move to public hearing. Moving on to the public hearing items, there are 3. The first one, item number 2 on the agenda, action on use permit and a Class 1 categorical exemption to allow on-site sale and service of beer and wine at a new full-service restaurant located at 2908 El Camino Real. Shall we go to this public hearing item first? Yes, staff, would you please proceed with your presentation?
Good evening, Commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
you can. Thank you.
Great. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Fabulous. This is an application for a use permit to allow on-site sale and service of beer and wine. This is a type ABC license 41 and a new restaurant with indoor dining. It also it has a categorical exemption pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15301, class 1 existing facilities. This here is the project site, is on the south side of El Camino Real. It is a 1.92 acre parcel that has a general plan designation of community mixed use and a zoning designation of thoroughfare commercial. It is bounded by El Camino Real and commercial uses to the north, commercial uses to the west and east, and single-family residences to the south. There are two buildings existing on the property, and the building to the front is a 10,280 square foot one-story building, which serves as a bank. And then the building to the rear is where the leased tenant space is located. It is a two-story building with 22,896 square feet. And this property has a shared parking arrangement with 139 parking spaces and is consistent with the parking standards applied to this zoning district. The restaurant is located at the southwest corner in Suite 100 here. And it is on the ground floor, stated. It is this building is undergoing some TI, so this is a new restaurant. It's called Bee Pastry, and it's a French-style brunch and bakery cafe with 49 indoor seats proposed, no outdoor seating, and no live entertainment. Operations are intended to be at from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. The application requires a use permit for the sale of beer and wine. The restaurant use is a permitted use. We do have conditions that are applied to the use permit, consistent with the use permits that have been before the Planning Commission previously for review within the 12-month period, and a report to follow 6 months following that 12-month period. Staff's recommendation is to adopt the Class 1 existing facilities categorical exemption under CEQA Guidelines 15301 and approve the use permit to allow on-site sale and service of beer and wine at a new full-service restaurant, subject to the conditions that are attached to the staff report and provided as attachment 3. If you have any questions, I am available to answer those. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you, staff. Any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Yes, he does.
Commissioner Biagini.
Debbie, I'm looking at the last page, I think, a second to last page, where the restaurant's going, and do I understand correctly then, at the bottom of that PowerPoint would be where the single-family residences are?
That would be immediately to this is just the rear setback of the building.
Right.
And then to the south of here would be the single family. That would be the rear yards of the single family. And as you can see
That's
here.
what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, actually there's an alley.
Right.
There's an alley that separates the two.
All right.
I don't know the width of that alley, but I would assume it's at least 20 feet.
And their hours of operation are 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Did I understand that correctly?
Correct. Yes. And again, no live entertainment. They may have, stereo music overhead via speakers, but no live entertainment.
And that would be for indoor only. The reason I'm asking these questions is because it butts up against single-family residences, and they're looking at alcohol permits. I want to make sure it isn't something that results in some upheaval in the neighborhood.
Sure.
So that's the reason why I'm asking these questions. So no live entertainment, no outdoor seating. So if there was any piped-in music, it would all be indoors and it would end at 9 p.m. Correct. Okay, thank you.
Quick question.
Thank you, Commissioner Biagini. Commissioner Mario?
Yes, I'm familiar with the location. That's right behind the Bank of America building that is in the front. Yeah, there is like an alleyway.
Correct.
There is almost like, And I don't see any problems with that at all. I mean, there, as it is, the liquor store at the end of that, at the beginning of the alleyway in Goodwill, that's where all the problems are that I see that the poor people live by there have to put up with. But we also approved, I believe, in the Moonlight Shopping Center, a center that also had live music that goes on till about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, and there's condominiums right behind it, and I understand there's been some complaints about the noise regarding that, but since they're going to be closing at 9 and it's going to be indoors, my belief is that there probably won't be any problems at all with that.
And I believe that the tenant space you're talking about in the Moonlight Shopping Center is a banquet facility.
Correct. It's a banquet
right.
facility that operates, I believe, it's till midnight or something like that. So it is, and they had some complaints already from the condominiums right behind the townhouse behind it that the noise is filtering through and the people and the back alleyway. So they had some problems with that already. I've been hearing that from the police reports.
Thank you, Commissioner Mario. Commissioner Salem?
Yeah, this is another place near me, but not obviously close enough to be an issue. One of the things I noticed about the alleyway, since that's my bank branch, and I've used the alleyway to enter and exit a few times to avoid El Camino, one of the things is there were occasional in-alley parking situations, and there was the case of traffic actually stopping in the alley as people wouldn't get out of the way for people leaving, is that the people are coming in. Has there been any, I don't want to say traffic analysis, but has there been any consideration for the fact that that will suddenly become a restaurant alley as well as the bank alley? The bank was much less trafficked, but I'm assuming the restaurant will be much more so.
It wasn't taken into consideration or analysis as part of this application.
Okay. It's only a concern. It's not a stopper for me.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Salem. Commissioner Huang, do you have a question? Anybody?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I think the commissioners have already asked the question that I had, so we'll move on. Commissioner Mario?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a motion to approve this.
Excuse me, we need to hear from the applicant first, if they're
Yes.
present.
Yes. So if there are no further commissioners wanting to ask any questions, is the applicant here? Would the applicant like to make a statement?
The applicant, from my understanding, is out of the country and was going to attempt to join the meeting via Zoom. I don't know if he was available. That would be Sean King.
Yes, Debbie, Sean King does have his hand up, so we'll go ahead.
Good.
Yeah, we'll promote
good.
him to speak. Thank you.
Okay, let's go for the applicant's presentation.
Hi, thank you everyone. So basically, Debbie covered most part. This is a French style bakery, brunch cafe. As for the alley concerns, we do not have any intent of using it. I mean, I guess the customer could drive through the alley to come to our restaurants. As for our hours of operation, currently we're set to 7 to 9 p.m. However, we might change that later on. However, we don't think we'll go over 9 p.m. And as for the alcohol sales, those are for the most part, it will be for our brunch sales. So just want to clarify that it's not going to be an issue like at the late night. Yeah, just if you guys have any more questions, then please feel free to let me know.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the commissioners here have any questions for the applicant? Do any members of the public have any questions for the applicant?
or
No.
wish to make any comments on this application?
Questions or comments from the
We
public?
don't have any hands raised or
Okay.
any comments from the public.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for the applicant? So maybe I can ask just one question. Since you are aiming this as a bakery and a cafe, not sure what the motivation is for alcohol permits, although I don't see there's a problem, but would like to understand your motivation.
Yes, basically for brunch. We do have our brunch service. Currently planning on 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. brunch service, and we are thinking of selling some beers and maybe some champagne. Which is everything, no hard liquors, just beer and wine for people, customers who are coming in, and if they want some alcohol with their brunch.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from fellow commissioners?
No,
Okay,
I'm happy to make a motion to close public comments.
second?
Second. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the category exemption to,
We're in the motion to close
First, we have
public
to close
hearing.
the public hearing.
We have to
Okay.
close public hearing.
okay.
So she made the motion.
I'd like to second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take the vote.
Sorry.
First time I've ever seen that.
Laughing.
Wow. Yes.
Wow. You really don't want to close the public hearing, okay.
I think it's the cyber gods
We're gonna be here
again.
all
I
night.
don't know.
You will keep talking about this, and you'll like it.
Sorry. Commissioner Botnagar,
Yes?
Commissioner Biagini,
Yes.
Commissioner Wang,
Yes.
Commissioner Buza,
Yes.
Commissioner Slame.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes.
Okay, passes.
Okay. Now, Commissioner Buza, would you please make your motion to approve?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the use permit and Class 1 categorical exemption to allow on-site sales and service of beer and wine at a new full-service restaurant located at 2908 El Camino Real, Santa Clara.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Salem.
And for clarification, this is to adopt the resolution doing everything that Commissioner Buza just said.
That's correct.
Thank you.
So noted. We should take another vote.
Commissioner Botnagar,
Yes?
Commissioner Biagini,
Yes.
Commissioner Wang,
Yes.
Commissioner Buza,
Yes.
Commissioner Slame.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the second item on the public hearing. That is to the discussion of updated list from November 9th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting of land use topics to recommend to the City Council for council consideration. Does the staff have a presentation?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
1 second. Sorry, too many things open here. Okay, so at our last Planning Commission meeting, the commissioners discussed topics, land use topics that they would like the council to consider during their priority setting session in the next year. And so I compiled the list from that conversation and put them into two categories, topics to recommend to the council, and then I have a second category of items for informational follow-up or study session. So I'll just read them to you here. So these are the topics for council consideration that we'll be forwarding on to them. Initiate a comprehensive review of city infrastructure, in particular the growth estimates for electricity demand, water supply, waste management, traffic, et cetera, for the foreseeable future. More specifically, the impact of ADUs and support for future higher density development in data centers. Second, the city has a considerable number of data centers, and do we expect more? They're a source of noise pollution. As a land use policy, it's a good idea to put them near one another. Is there a way to eliminate the use of diesel backup generators and use batteries? Number 3, the creation of objective development standards. Number 4, provide a forum for communication between the Planning Commission and other government bodies. Number 5, dealing with post-entitlement requests from developers to make changes to conditions of approval. 6, to evaluate and adopt policies leading to the establishment of an entertainment district for Santa Clara. There's an opportunity in the area with Great America, Levi Stadium, and the related Santa Clara project, with ample hotels and amenities in the surrounding zone to encourage more entertainment uses, such as an indoor concert venue, car shows, etc. And finally, to explore and adopt equity in all policies for the city: housing, community and neighborhood health, safety, empowerment of youth, aging in place, gentrification, environmental justice, homelessness, and more. Include a statement in our policies to demonstrate that we are a diverse and inclusive community. Pardon the typos in here. Okay, and then these are the items that I have listed for informational follow-up or for a study session. So requesting speakers from other cities who are dealing with similar issues to Santa Clara, such as public outreach. With land use in mind, conduct or confirm that Santa Clara's integrated waste management plan is focused on waste minimization, reuse, recycle, waste to energy, landfill management, and pollution prevention. Provide transportation demand management information on the city's website. An overview of city staff, departments, staff size. A city map with upcoming developments, proposed and approved projects, marked with start dates and completion dates. And finally, providing a list of city-owned properties and how we can better use city-owned properties to generate revenue or provide housing. And for this one, I do want to note that Elizabeth kindly did email the commissioners with a link to some information from a public records request that, that speaks to this. And with that, I am up for any additional input on this list from the commissioners.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. Are there any public comments or members of the public available for comment?
No, we do not have any requests to make any comments.
Okay.
I have one question.
Yeah, sure. Commissioner Mario has a question then for staff.
Can you, is there any chance of putting something that in regards to properties once we approve the project, that the properties don't stay vacant for such a long time that they become a blight in our city? One of the things that just brought that to my attention and even made it worse, I saw that they took care of the problems on the El Camino, the landowner, because of the amount of fines that they were occurring. They went ahead and cleaned it up, painted it, boarded it all up, which is great. So, and at the same time, it helped the police kind of keep the vagrants out of there. But at the same time, I see problems with standing there for a long time. One of them is like just happened. We had our fortunately is like about 100 feet from our city on Winchester and Heading. Vacant building had been there vacant for about 2 years. Major fire that was actually right next to another building that had just been completely revamped. And our city has another building across the street from that location, and there were also homes and so on. I don't want to see that happening in the city. So is there any way we can put a time limit that they can start their project after it's been approved and everything? I understand there's financing and, but after all the permits and the financing is done, can they proceed? Otherwise, they could start paying a penalty if they're not moving along. Is there something like that we can put on?
The commission could add an item to this list, which would be the establishment of a vacant building ordinance. A lot of cities use ordinances like that to describe exactly what an owner of a vacant building needs to do, what it, how it has to be maintained, possibly even fines for not being maintained or having some sort of use in it. So that is something that you could add for the council to consider, is adopting such ordinance.
I would like to see that added on so we can discuss it, because I'm pretty sure a lot of our citizens want that happening. They don't want to just keep walking by and seeing all these problems being there.
Thank you, Commissioner Bouza. Commissioner Salem?
I'll actually jump on that bandwagon because I'd love to see some kind of minimum requirements for securing the building while it's empty to prevent squatters and other things from just setting up residence. I think we've had that nearby here where it created some serious problems for the neighborhood. We as a city could help instill a little common sense into the owner to make sure their buildings are sealed.
Yes. Yeah. Right now, what our code enforcement staff uses is, the sort of the blight ordinance to get property owners to clean up their property, but this would be definitely more targeted to the specific issues around vacant buildings.
Yes, thank you. Do any members of the planning department have any response in terms of the time allocated to Commissioner Bouza's question? Once a project is approved, at least for residential projects, I'm aware that there's a 90-day time limit within which the construction needs to be started. After the date of the permit approval, you have 90 days to start doing some construction, start activity.
No. If it's a planning approval, their permit's typically good for 2 years. That's how long they have to get their building permits and start construction. There's options in our zoning code to extend that entitlement date. So that is currently our mechanism, but there's no additional must start construction if you get an approved project requirement in our zoning code.
Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Bouza.
We should have some. 2 years is a long time for properties to sit like that. Look at the old.
Well, often it takes sometimes 2 years to get through building permits, so.
Right, but once everything's approved, they still kind of just sit on it. That's what thing. And especially Commissioner Salim, he says he uses the Bank of America just on the El Camino. So he was probably very aware, if he used the bank, all the problems that were going across the street. And myself and a few other citizens took it upon ourselves, contact the police and stay on them all the time. And finally, they were, with their city helps, they were able to start finding them and get the things done. So the citizens have to but we shouldn't have to be doing that at all. The code enforcement should be on top of that, not the citizens. And that's what I want to see, a time limit and get going on this.
Thank you. Commissioner Bijay?
Yeah, I've got to agree with my colleagues. I mean, permits are issued, and then there's the lag. And I think that's the whole issue that we're talking about here, is that we don't end up, I've seen some situations out there along El Camino. Why does that seem to be the popular one? But like you brought up that great example of what happened over on Winchester and Heading, I don't want to see that happening. So I think that's a great topic to add as well.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from my fellow commissioners? Commissioner Huang, since you're online, do you have a question or comment?
No. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Sure, Commissioner Salam, please go ahead.
I have a different topic. We had Silicon Valley Power come in last time, and it was really, really, really helpful. And then I watched the council meeting last night, and I heard them come in for a sort of a short-term rate increase. So suddenly, power is going to go up about 8%, theoretically starting in January. So I was concerned that was not even mentioned as a possibility when they were here with us, because the suggestion wouldn't be, let's give everybody an 8% rate hike. Let's give the data centers a 9% and everybody else nothing, because they constitute 90% of the load on Santa Clara. And the residents are all going to get the pain of an 8% rate hike when the data centers are the ones pulling 90% of the power. That just felt very strange. That's kind of a political comment. I guess I didn't mean that. What I would like to do is see if we could bring back Silicon Valley Power and ask them some more details about the financial side of what their decisions are. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead, Commissioner Bruiser. Thank you.
Yes, I agree with, I had the same thoughts, and also friends of mine today that were asking me the same thing. And it's very vague on the 8%, but that doesn't mention anything about the commercial part. And the same, even though this is part political, we should do this in front of the city council as citizens, is, how come we can raise it like in the data center, and then the citizens won't have to be up with this. But one more issue that I brought up when he was here was, I don't know if you recall, which was very important, that should be brought up, and it wasn't brought up during the city council meeting, was regarding how can we protect our power plant? Because if you saw what's happening in North Carolina, what happened in San Jose, and I brought that up, and they were kind of, they're kind of wishy-washy. He didn't give us a complete answer. And I think I don't want to be saying, well, I told you so. I want to be for them to start doing it now, what this could happen to us. And this is something that let's get on it right now. And I hope the city council can hear this or get some ideas, and let's see if we can get this along with Pat Nicolai. Maybe he can get our chief, get somebody, something there. Especially now we have the drones flying around.
Thank you, Commissioner Boozer. So maybe the staff can take a note to maybe have another presentation with Silicon Valley Power personnel here, and we can restart that conversation. On this particular topic yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
To wrap up that topic it's not just have them come back for like two things. We should have a list of questions at this point that we can pose and try and make that time valuable for them as well as the public, because I think a tremendous amount of what happened last night went by in a blur, and the impact is dramatic, and the discussion was very short. So it could be something they could use Planning Commission to help get more detail. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, with that, if there's no other comment and question, maybe we can ask for a motion to close the public hearing?
Can I clarify one thing?
Sure, go ahead.
The commission has agreed that we're going to add to our bulleted list the addition of a vacant building ordinance. Okay.
That's correct.
Perfect. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, this is listed under public hearings, but technically it is not a public hearing, so you actually don't need to take any action.
Right. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Xander. Okay, so then the commissioners have already discussed this topic. Staff have taken notes to accommodate the commissioner's request. Maybe you can close this motion. We can ask the commissioners, any commissioners making a motion to close this hearing?
Sure. On this item, I don't know, do we need to do the close?
You can just move on.
Okay.
Oh, okay, make it
All right.
easy on us.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you,
So the
Sander.
same with the next one, we can just discuss and move on.
Yes, so we'll close that discussion and move to item number 4 on the public hearing calendar. And that would be the discussion of city travel policy from November 9, 2022, Planning Commission meeting, and possible recommendations. Does staff has a present? Commissioner Huang, were you saying something? No? Okay. Does staff have a presentation for us or a discussion that the staff want to lead on this topic?
No,
No?
there's no presentation.
Okay. Are there any members of the public who want to comment on this? Nope.
No, we do not. At the last meeting, there were some comments from commissioners about some recommendations they might have to the travel policy. So this is your opportunity. Leslie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. This is your opportunity to make some suggestions, and they would be presented to the city manager for a possible change if that's what you decide.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Commissioner Biagini.
Boy, help my memory here. I thought maybe we had made some of those ideas known last time. So I'm looking for it right now in this 12-page travel policy. So I'm just going to go off of my memory. I know there's an issue about 50 miles. So when you're talking about, for example, the upcoming CEQA conference in San Francisco, which Elizabeth, I cannot thank you enough for your help on behalf of the commissioners attending it. It did bring up this issue about the 50 miles. Okay, 50 miles from here to, God, we're in the Bay Area, so it's kind of hard to say. All right, yeah, there's a good one, Salinas. From here to Salinas is one thing for a morning conference. From here to San Francisco is an entirely different matter. Honestly, I don't think anybody should be expected, and I'm just not saying this about commissioners, I'm saying this for any other segment of city government, that 50 miles from here to San Francisco, if you're looking at a 45-mile commute for something that starts at 8 or 8:30 or even 9 o'clock in the morning, from here to San Francisco, you are talking about a significant amount of time, much more than from here to Salinas. So I think that is something that should be re-looked at. There's some complicated ways of doing it, and I don't know that I want to get into all that discussion here because I face this before in other organizations, but there should be a timing element as well. Because a commute in the Bay Area, that's sort of like a commute to Sacramento. If it's the wrong time of day, that hour and a half could be 4 hours. So the discussion, I think, shouldn't just be straight miles, but should include a timing element dealing with normal commute hours, which I think we've all experienced, have seemed to have increased since COVID sort of ended. So that's one suggestion that I would strongly recommend.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Salam?
Okay, so she said it all. I don't have to say that again. But I did want to reemphasize how amazingly effective and helpful Elizabeth was in getting this process moving for all of us. Yeah, it's a round of applause. It was truly helpful at a level that makes it possible for us to go. It was reasonably and practically impossible to go to that conference without the ability to be there the night before and be up and early and ready to go in the morning. So thank you. Along the way, we discovered a few surprises around parking and other things, but those, I guess, were included in the estimates. So we're good to go. But don't let hotels surprise you when you get there and they say, all we have available is valet parking. There is no personal parking at all. And there's only one parking structure, and it turns out to be reserved. So you would be parking 4 or 5 blocks away to try and get to your hotel room without valet parking. So we've covered that. It feels decadent, but it's actually now a baseline. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Salam. And let's register our vote of thanks also for Elizabeth to have made this all possible.
Absolutely. Elizabeth, we could not, honestly, I don't know if any of us could have gone without the help that you did.
No, thank you for that. But I mean, it's also the commission speaking up about what they needed for this training, which is critical. So, you know, that was very important.
Thank you.
You're very kind. Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Biagin. You had a comment or question?
I think we just covered it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Commissioner Huang, any questions or comments since you're online?
I did.
No? Okay, good that you did. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, now I do remember what it was. And just for those that are listening, we've all talked about it here on the commission without violating the Brown Act. I just want to, help you there, Xander, about the possibility of us carpooling up there to help save headache and expense. Thank you.
Yes, thank you again. Okay, with that, we can close that topic. Okay. And move on to any reports of commission or board liaison and committees. Are there any other announcements, Elizabeth, or staff?
No, none for me. Leslie, did you have anything?
No.
Okay, I think we covered the topic of travel and training reports, but is there anything else that commissioners may have on their mind?
Actually, I want to I just sent you commissioners, we just received notification about State of the Valley, February 17th. You do have the opportunity to register now. I don't think it's critical at this moment. It is virtual. In person is very minimal. So if you wanted to take a vote, you could take a vote tonight to expend funds for that. It is
Yes.
$35 per person. So, or you can wait until the next meeting, but you have the opportunity now. So we just got that. I know last year, one of the comments from the commission was that you find out sometimes very close to the event. So now you have some advance notice here.
So February 17th is a Friday.
That is a Friday,
Yep.
9 to 12:30. Yes.
Commissioner Biagini.
You know, thank you for giving us the advance notice, especially with the holidays coming up. We're going to be hit like quick come January. So if it is appropriate, since the $35, that's if you attend live or
No,
online?
no, that's virtual. In person is very, very limited.
It's probably San Jose Convention Center, my guess. I don't know. I have that somewhere in the paperwork. I do have that little notice you put out, Elizabeth, but I don't see it right now. Well, let me put it this way. I would like to make, if it's appropriate now, to make a motion that any commissioners willing to go, the $35 is covered. And I'm saying that because some may want to go in person, and in terms of networking, that's always a good thing. But this isn't about a learning training session. This is more about State of the Union, except it's State of the Valley. So I don't know what the cost would be in person, but at $35 a head for online, I think whatever 35 times 7 is with the cost.
Yeah, just
I bet Lance has me covered on this. I think Lance has me covered because I would prefer that a motion have at a cost not to exceed, but I'm not sure the dollar figure. Lance?
Go
No,
ahead, Commissioner Salam.
I just wanted to make sure that people realize that I attended virtually last year. It was probably the single most informative session I had. It's where they also put out a booklet
yeah.
that has some extremely useful statistics in it. It's where I learned our median income versus our, all of the statistics for the valley of where we are financially compared to other cities. And it raised the flag that our estimate of what low-cost housing is fantasy compared to the rest of the state and even the country. So, yeah, I really highly recommend we get to that.
Do you have a price for in-person?
I don't, but this is what I will tell you. It is capped at 300 people in person, and you have to buy by the table is what I'm reading here. I mean, I can review it further, but, they're encouraging virtual 300, and I'm sorry, I think it's like 10 to a table, and you have only
300.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so if you.
Want to go?
Can I make a
Yeah.
suggestion to staff? Why don't you go ahead and email the commissioners that missed the meeting today and see if they want to go and we can get a table ahead of time now? Would that be, if
We can
they're willing to
certainly
do
try.
that? If they wanted to do that, see what their feedback's on it, because I'm willing to do that. It sounds like Nancy is too, and Lance is probably.
Within a few magnitudes. I mean, we don't want a table if it's $3,500 a head.
No, that's exactly it. Yeah, no,
So
there's no way I'm
we
going to
want
pay
to make
that.
sure that it's a rational
maybe-
price.
On their website, a table for the public sector is $3,500.
Then I think we go online.
Yeah.
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 So at a cost not to exceed $250, does that work?
No.
Because
difference
35
there.
times 7 is 245.
Yeah, there's
So
no.
I think if we say at a cost not to exceed 250 for any commissioners willing,
Yeah.
and then if you follow up with a who wants to go, that should cover us. And if there's something that changes between now and February, we can always revisit it and make another motion.
So
Yeah.
do you have a motion
We have a
worded?
motion by Commissioner Biagini, where I don't have a seconder.
Yeah, but is it worded with
Yes, that's
all that
perfect.
you
Not
said?
to
Okay,
exceed.
Very good.
Perfect.
Very good. Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Elizabeth. You're fast.
Want to second it?
Yeah, I like to second it.
Go ahead. So seconded by Commissioner Buzo, and now we can go take a vote.
Got it. Commissioner Bhatnagar?
Yes.
Commissioner Biagini?
Yes.
Commissioner Wang?
Yes.
Commissioner Buza?
Yes.
And Commissioner Slang?
Yes.
Thank you, and I will get in touch with everyone, and we'll get everyone registered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much. So that's set for next year, February the 17th. That's a Friday. The Director of Community Development reports, Planning Commission budget updates. Is there something quick here, Elizabeth?
So right now, again, there will be some other expenses with your conference that you attend. It won't be much, but so this is just kind of a general. Your budget right now is at approximately $10,459.
Okay. And obviously, this conference coming up will be subtracted from that
Correct.
10,459.
Yeah.
So more or less about $10,000 plus is what we have in
Yes.
the bucket. Thank you. Staff, any upcoming agenda items?
I do not know, but I will try to get the Silicon Valley Power back for you to do a study session.
Okay, wonderful. Commissioner Boozer, go ahead.
Get an idea. We'll get together.
Put your mic on.
Can we go ahead and for the commissioners to have like questions that we could submit to staff so that way they'll have, when they come back in front of us, they won't be going, let me see.
That would be
That way
great.
they'll have all the answers to the stuff that we were submitting. Save us time and get right down to the nitty gritty.
An excellent idea, yes. Please do.
Okay, yes,
Please
thank you.
do submit your questions to staff,
Right.
not to each other.
Yes.
Direct to Leslie.
Please,
Exactly.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Staff, any appropriate city council actions that we need to know about?
The only item to note would be the city council did approve the related project tentative map, which this planning commission heard at a past
Okay.
council meeting.
Okay, glad we agreed on that one.
Yes.
Great. With that, it's a welcome short meeting that we had today. Anything else that anybody wants to add as a closing item?
I think
I'll make the motion.
we may be having a presentation on new housing legislation at the next meeting.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
'Cause I really need to learn the laws by January, so should probably
Yeah,
give
because
a
Lance will
presentation.
have his list of stump the attorney, I think.
Oh, bring it, Salim.
So I have one question. I believe the meeting on the 21st is canceled.
Correct.
But wasn't there an option that we had to go listen to what we had to do regarding the housing, RINA, or the next 8-year plan that we had to sort of approve?
We were intending to bring our housing element to you, but we are not prepared to do that on the 21st. So we'll be bringing it back in, I believe, January.
Yes, isn't
Yeah, the
January
January
time that we have to-
11th meeting.
We have to submit it, right?
We have to submit at the end of January, yes.
At the end of January. So the January meeting will have that item then?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
very good. Thank you for clarifying that. Is there a motion to adjourn? Oh,
Yes, I would like to make a motion to adjourn as soon as I wish everybody who celebrates Christmas happy holidays. For whatever celebration, Kwanzaa, the rest, whatever it is. Staff, Elizabeth, especially you, girl. What would we do without you? Happy holidays to everybody, and I move to adjourn.
thank you. Is there a second?
I'd like to second that, and Merry Christmas to you all.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
holidays.
Thank you. Good night. Happy holidays.
Motion to adjourn was made.
We'll consider that a unanimous vote.
Yes.
Okay, yes, we'll consider.
Thank you.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. And have a good night.
Great job. Thank you.